Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of your Brains Coach podcast. My name is Angela Shurina. I'm your host, I'm your Brains Coach, and it is my job here to deconstruct, share, discover, and coach you through some most effective tools to take better control of your brain, of your body, of your thinking and motions, and most importantly, actions, so you get closer and closer to living the life that you want, building the business, the relationships, your day-to-day activities in the exact way that vibes with you. I like this word vibes that I picked up from a friend over the weekend. So this is what this podcast is about. And today, folks, on Monday, I love when I learn something new about motivation, and I love sharing it on Monday because for the majority of people, most of the world, Monday is when we focus on new beginnings, on new projects, on our goals, on our aspirations. And that's where usually we would love to have more motivation. Today, I wanted to share with you the book that I just finished. It's called The Motivation Myth: How High Achievers Really Set Themselves Up to Win by Jeff Hayden. And this book sums up a lot of best strategies that you can pick up from different leaders, entrepreneurs, hustlers, creators, astronauts. I love reading autobiographies or stories written by astronauts, and also people like Seth Godin, who are dedicated creators who, for example, Seth Godin been writing his blog every day. Well, he was publishing it every day for the past, 20 years or maybe even 30 years, but a lot of consistency. And as you can imagine, he does not rely on motivation in its traditional pop sense. Because motivation, folks, what is motivation? Motivation, once again, the definition of motivation is the reason to act. And no human beings, no animal actually acts without the reason to act. So saying that you don't have motivation is bullshit. We all have motivation for something. It's just for the harder goals where we need to spend more energy to take action, to move forward. Very often we are not connected consciously to our strongest reasons to get this done. Or maybe we don't have a reason for that specific thing. And that's why we don't act. As simple as that. When my friends or my clients ask me, Angela, how do I boost my motivation? And I always ask them, well, you gotta connect to your compelling reason to get this done. Once you really feel why this is important, the getting done part becomes easier. Like Nietzsche said, he who has strong enough why gonna bear anyhow. And that's exactly that, folks. Motivation is the reason to act. So think about that. Why are you doing? Why do you want to do what's on your to-do list? And once you have a strong, a compelling enough reason, you will not need any motivation. But speaking of motivation, I'm going to read to you something from the book that I really, really loved in terms of feelings and taking action and how it relates to motivation as well. Anyone hoping to achieve great things gets nervous. Anyone trying to achieve great things gets scared. To succeed, you don't have to be braver than other people. You just need to find the strength to keep moving forward. And the first point I would like you to stop with me on and ponder upon is that idea that your feelings will tell you the experiences that you're going through. The weather, like for example, yesterday was a storm here in Cape Town, and there is no sunshine, it's raining, it's cloudy, it's cold, and weather does affect our mood. But if we let the weather affect the actions that we need to take to move things forward, guess what, guys? We're not going to be moving. Well, sometimes we will because the weather still gets better, but you will not get the consistency you need to get the momentum you need to build something that you're proud of, something that is exceptional, something that is celebrated in the world. It's like if you decide to only work out on the days when you feel good, guess what, guys? You're not going to be getting a lot of results because more often than not, you're not going to be feeling like working out. In fact, working out, if you're pushing it to get new results, might cause pain often. So how are you going to deal with that if you're only going to be waiting for a good mood to go and exercise? So feelings, you got to separate. And that's what successful people, high achievers do. They separate the feelings from their plan of action. They don't ask themselves, how do I feel? Well, except for the obvious, when you're really sick and you have a fever or you have some gut bug that makes you go to the toilet 20 times per day. There is some gut bug going around in Cape Town, but my gut is strong, so I didn't get that. But anyhow, so you see what I mean? If you always rely on your feelings, you're not going to be moving consistently forward anywhere, and you're definitely not going to be becoming one of the greatest if you rely on feelings to get things done. So separating feelings, divorcing feelings and emotions from your plan, that's the first skill you need to master if you want to develop extraordinary consistency. I like to say these days, my talent is consistency of a calendar. So if I decide to do a thing, I'm going to do a thing. And that's why, for example, I've been having my podcast for 6 years and counting. And the reason for me to stop something is never my mood or my feeling. When something is on my plan, I do it. And do I feel always like that? No, I don't feel like exercising like today. Did not feel like waking up and going to the gym in this rain, in the darkness, in the coldness, but I still did, and I felt better after it. So the first thing you gotta do, you gotta understand and start making yourself comfortable with this idea. Yes, if you want to achieve some great goals, you're gonna make peace with the idea and start practicing this idea of not feeling it and still doing that. So you set the goal, you create a plan, you set up the process, you schedule things, and then you follow through. And you usually define the criteria which allows you or will make you pivot or quit or stop, or maybe something extraordinary will happen, but something extraordinary cannot happen for every single of your goals, every single of your days, or a few times per week. So separating feelings from the doing. Understand one thing. You will never, ever, ever in no reality will always feel like doing what needs to get done. And all high achievers do compared to the rest of the world is they make peace with this idea. They're like, yeah, I don't feel like it, but I still do it. And that's about it. The most important thing, what I notice with myself, first and foremost, because I'm in my head and I know what's happening there. And also with my clients, from their looks, from the way they communicate, the one thing I notice, once you make peace with their idea, that's going to be hard, it's going to be challenging, and you still commit to doing it no matter what. Once you make peace, once you commit, once you decide, then the rest is going to be super easy. Because what's stopping you and me and most of the people is the conversation, this negotiation they have with themselves in their head. When they have a plan, but then they feel like something else, and they start this negotiation. They allow this negotiation to happen. What high achievers do, they cut this negotiation at its root. You're like, yeah, you're not feeling like it, so what? I'm going to do it anyway. You see, guys, if you don't take control of your feelings and of your moment-to-moment emotions and your cravings or impulses for things, you know what's going to happen? You will eat yourself to fatness and sickness, which the rest of the world, by the way, is successfully doing. You will trade your dreams for social media scrolling. By the way, did you know social media companies do not care about your goals and dreams? They care about you consuming their product. The same as food industry doesn't care about your fitness goals. It cares about you eating more and making them more profits. Did you know that? Have you thought about that? Where your interests are not aligned with industries in the interests. If you follow every single one of your impulses, you're going to be buying a bunch of stuff that at the end of your life will mean absolutely nothing, by trading that on to spending money and the time of your life on something that actually builds meaning and progress and impact and fulfillment in your life. So if you follow your impulses and your feelings, it's going to be a sad journey that's going to be less and less fulfilling and satisfying with each day, week, and month. So first, divorce your feelings from the plan. And then the practice from here is you set a goal, and the next step, you set up a plan for that goal, a realistic plan, not hoping for the best. Looking up some best strategies, looking up some statistics, like for example, working on weight loss, how exactly it's going to take this. Not, I want to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. That is craziness and hoping for miracles and hoping while trying to set a rocket to the moon, hoping that everything will align, and without much experience, you'll just make it happen. So stop hoping for miracles, but set up the plan, challenging very often for you as a high achiever, but not unrealistic. Do not set yourself up for failure. Some things, it's like a law of gravity. You're just not meant to fly. And the laws of physics and reality still apply. So create good plan, set enough time to execute on that plan. Literally create a plan and then figure out how much time that plan is going to take you every single day or every other day, depends on the goal. And then execute, show up on that time and execute without any consideration for your feelings. No, do not act how you feel or when you feel like it, because doing that will not allow you to create anything that is significant, any great goal. Achieving anything great relying on your feelings and a feeling of pump and high energy will not lead you towards your goal. So as a high achiever, you need to set the goal, then set the plan and focus on making sure you show up for execution. Forget about your feelings. Yes, remember what's your motivation, what's your motive for action, which is what's your reason for acting. And that's all you need to know to keep going. One other aspect that I believe a lot of people get wrong is that this feeling of motivation, of pump, of energy, of wanting to get things done, that actually comes from action. Action is a much more reliable predictor of you feeling motivated in the sense that you feel the drive to achieve. Action produces the feeling of motivation. Why? Because action boosts the production of dopamine. Dopamine that is designed to make you move, in quite literal sense, move your body. And that also boosts your feeling of creativity and the desire to learn, the desire for progress, to achieve, to take action. Dopamine is a very, very powerful activating molecule, and it is released in response to physical movement, predictably. So if everything works right in your brain, and for most of people, unless you have some genetic disease or got Parkinson or some serious condition, for majority of people, you act and you get your dopamine and you feel like doing more. So do not wait. If you want to feel like doing more of something, start acting. And exercise is one of the easiest, or just going for a brisk walk is one of the easiest way to boost that dopamine, to boost that feeling of wanting to do, to achieve, and move forward. So instead of waiting to feel like doing something, move, and you literally create the feeling of doing more, because you boost your dopamine and you boost that feeling of motivation. One other aspect that I started to think deeper about after reading this book, that I also need to work on: do not focus on the goal, focus on the process. What do I mean by that? If you want to hit a business goal or a fitness goal, I'm working on getting 10 one-year contracts, working with teams, tech teams, as a high-performance coach, combining kind of the best of Huberman, Cal Newport, and productivity, but in a meaningful, not burnout-causing way. And Michael Gervais, he is a high-performance psychologist and coach who works with some of the best athletes in the world and performance in other arenas. So I have this goal, but what actually makes sense then, once you have the goal, once you have your North Star, you know where you're moving, which will help you to track the progress long term. Once you have the goal, you gotta focus on the plan that you create and on the process, on the action steps that you are going to be doing every single day, making sure that you are doing your best work in each individual step. And as long as you do that, as long as you focus on quality in each individual step of the process, the goal will take care of yourself. And not only that, why it's so essential, you'll also feel a lot more motivation and fulfillment from the process itself, versus comparing yourself, focusing on that goal that very often, if you have a long-term goal, if you have a big goal, going to take months and years, it's going to feel very demotivating to compare where you are and this huge gap between where you are and where you want to go. And so if you want to avoid that defeating feeling, and if you want to feel good and accomplished and like making progress and like driving things forward, if you want to feel like that every day, you got to forget the big goal and focus on the progress, on the process, and smaller milestone. So every day you get to celebrate a new step taken, a new thing learned, a new skill improved. That's where our focus gotta be. So set the goal. Think about the goal, what exactly you want to achieve. That will help you to create a strategy, a process that you're going to implement daily. Then block out the time on your calendar for the process and make sure you have progress indicators and milestones to track and measure, which will tell you whether you're moving towards that North Star, your goal, or away from it, right? So we need the goal to keep us on track, just like you would have a compass or some sort of guide. And then the rest of the time, 90% of your time, 90% of your attention and focus and energy you spend on the process, on doing to the best of your ability the next step and getting to the next milestone, focusing on quality of what you deliver instead of thinking how you can cut corners and then delivering half-assed quality and then wondering why nobody cares. Well, nobody cares because we also, as humanity, developed quite a lot of stuff, and we get picky, and we know what good quality looks like and what we are capable of. And so if you develop and deliver always something that is half-assed, people will notice and will not pay attention. So that's how you will undermine your own progress. But then also focusing on a big goal that is far, far away in the future will feel very defeating, because you're going to be comparing yourself now and seeing this huge gap that you have to overcome that will feel impossible, like flying from here to the moon or to Mars if you always focus on the goal. But if you focus on the progress and each individual step and doing the best you can there and learning the most you can there, over delivering value and tracking that progress, looking back at the progress and knowing that you are moving forward, you're going to be in a pretty awesome place, feeling fulfilled, feeling accomplished, feeling like moving forward, and you will feel more of that motivation that will come from feeling of success, of progress, and of taking action. So that's another very important aspect of you for you to understand as a goal achiever. And again, this is something that I need to work more on, focusing on the process, on today, on what I'm delivering at this very moment, not thinking about the goal, which will often consume your time, will set you up for those defeating feelings, and you're not going to be making that much progress on this seemingly smaller step. So focus on the process once you set up the goal. So far we talked about how as a high achiever, you need to learn the skill of separating your feelings from what you do. You create a goal, you set the plan, and you forget about feelings. Then you gotta understand that action drives motivation, that you do not wait to feel like it, you act, and then you're gonna feel much better. And then again, don't forget, once you set the goal, focus on the process. So you get the feeling of progress, success, accomplishment versus feeling like there is so much to do and so far to go before you actually hit your goal that you're going to feel demotivated and tired and exhausted just from thinking about the amount of work that is coming. And one more thing that I found extremely useful to drive me, to pull me into doing my best and pushing for more. What I find extremely motivating, and that's also is mentioned in the book, upgrade your comparisons. If you look at your social circle and you do not find people who motivate you, like you don't have mentors, even though those are distant mentors, people you read about, people you follow on social media, if you don't compare yourself to people who inspire you, who do more, who drive progress, who are striving to be their absolute freaking best, if you don't have that and you compare yourself to 90% of the people who just want to get by and do the easiest thing, guess what? You will feel like you're already doing well enough and there is no need to push, and maybe even that this is your limit where you are right now, because around you, you're not going to see anything that is more than what you already are. And also the people who are on pretty same level or not that far away, those people will not allow you to feel that there is a lot more a human being is capable of. And they will not be able to teach you how to act on a higher level. Let's say if you know someone, even again, at a distance, and you follow them, people who build $1 million empires, and that is your goal. So you need to listen to them, how they think, what they do, how they prioritize versus people who never had this, or maybe they have millions, but they never built it. It just was given maybe by their parents, their company, their family, whatever that might be. So you need to be very careful about who you compare yourself with. And if you want to develop yourself faster, with a lot more drive, momentum, using the best strategies that are used at the elite level, that is who you need to find to listen to learn from, to compare yourself to. That is who you need to ask for advice, not the rest of the people who have no idea what they're talking about. If I learned anything in my decade of entrepreneurship, guys, is that talking about something, reading about it in a book is not freaking the same as actually doing that. So if somebody doesn't have your results, if they didn't build it, if they didn't create it, their advice worth almost nothing, guys. They might point you to a good person or to a good book, but the rest of it, how things should be done, take it with a lot of caution, if ever. In most cases, it is not worth pursuing. Talking about something, reading about something is not the same as actually doing that. That's why I'm not telling you how to, for example, build $1 million company. I'm telling you about my journey and how I'm progressing and who I'm learning from, who I'm listening to, because those people actually got the results. But telling you, what I'm very confident in is teaching people how to get their lifestyle and their nutrition together and change their body composition, get abs, lose weight, improve anything in that regard. That I'm more than confident talking about, because I got it, I helped other people do it, and I need no other proof that this is what works. And this is the last piece, but a very important piece. Be very careful who you spend time with and who you take advice from. And if you feel like you're not growing, not progressing at the speed you'd like to, look at your surroundings. Surroundings in terms of consuming content and people you talk to, you spend time with. If they don't have the result you want and don't aspire to get it, they're not going to be telling you any good about or driving you towards that result. Just understand that. And no, I'm not saying you should stop talking to your mom, to your partner, or to your friends who you actually have really great relationship with, but do not take their advice for the area where you want to grow a lot, number one. And number two, make sure that you do have those people who inspire your most audacious growth in some form or fashion, either in person or through Zoom, online. You can communicate with their people, however infrequently, or at the very least, you follow them on social media. You see how they do things. You listen to their advice. You learn from them. That will inspire your growth more than anything I can give to you here. So upgrade your comparisons. And that's it for today, folks. Hopefully you got amazing advice for your motivation. Please, again, do remember your feelings do not define what you do every day. That's a skill you got to develop as a high achiever. Number two, your feeling of drive or of getting things done will come from action. So do not wait for a feeling. Literally move, and your mind will follow. You'll get the feeling. And in terms of day-to-day focus on the process of delivering great quality. Use your goal as a compass, as a North Star. Do not always look into that huge gap from where you are to where you want to go. It's going to be defeating and demotivating. And become a master of your calendar. If you don't plan, don't schedule your process and achieving your goal, it will not happen. Thanks again, guys. Thank you for listening. If you found it useful, that will mean a world to me if you share it with at least one person who is also working on building something great. This information is useful, valuable, comes from very respectable and science-backed, real-life tested sources. So use it, share it in an SMS, on social media. And till next time, stay tuned and focus on getting things done. Talk to you soon. Stay motivated.